some sound problem. So hello all again. So in the last live stream which we did was about the UPSC Civil Services Prelims examination, which is conducted every year by the Union Public Service Commission. Now, yesterday in the last discussion in the part 1, which you find on my channel on the live section, we had a general discussion about the UPSC prelims paper, what it consists of, what are the things asked, and how to approach it basically. But I thought that the live stream was not sufficient enough to cover all the aspects, because since what I have gained from my own personal experience is that the UPSC paper is all about comprehensive knowledge, means a lot of background research, background studies. You have to know a lot of things in order to be able to solve their questions, to tackle with their questions. So that is why, and in this age of shorts and like short attention span, I have decided that I will create some comprehensive videos for like 15 minutes. I think that would do, because I think the attention span of a normal human is like 25 minutes. Beyond that, you get bored if you don't are if you're not fed up with the new information. So anyhow, moving on to our topic, that is UPSC Civil Services Prelims examination discussion. Uh, Let me give you some other information about it. So there are two parts to the paper, as we have already discussed. The first part is your general studies one. In this, a lot of questions are asked from various subjects like history, economics, civics, geography, current affairs, environment and ecology, biology, and whatnot. So it is like a mixture of a lot of things. The second paper, that is your aptitude paper, is consisting of 200 marks worth of questions, and you have to just qualify it. Qualify it means you have to score 33%, that is 66%, 66 marks out of the 200, in order to so that you are qualified for that paper. You don't have to score in that. So the merit for qualifying or going to the mains examination comes from the first paper, which becomes very crucial. Now, why it was done so? Why it was done like this? It was done so that all the people from various backgrounds who attempt this paper, who take this paper, not give this paper, take this paper, have a fair advantage, have a level playing field. Level playing field means all the people are on the same plank. Nobody can complain that okay, we are art students, we are humanities students, or we are economics students, or we are science students. Therefore the other group of students may have an advantage over ours. Why I say so? Because the paper one consists of questions from all the subjects. So an art student might not be that good at science. A science student might not be that good at history, economics, whatever. So this ensures that everyone will have to cover their own subjects as well as be good at other subjects also. Means they will have to study all round, and they will have to focus on the current affair and do a thorough analysis and remember a lot of things, so that they can take the questions. So that is why it was done. So earlier what used to happen was that the people from the aptitude background, or the people from engineering or science backgrounds, they used to score a lot in the second paper, that is the aptitude paper, because it was mostly mathematical and logical reasoning and other things. So a lot of people complained that they are at a disadvantage, and the commission took note of it, and they changed this pattern like this. So moving along, for the first paper, that is on which the merit is created, so that the candidates can qualify for the means examination. There is a lot. So there are a lot of questions, or I think there are 80 questions, and you'll have to solve them in 2 hours. It doesn't seems like a lot, but when you start attempting the questions, when you start looking at the questions, and you have to analyze, and you have to like review it for later, and you have to make a lot of decisions in between them, then it becomes a bit hectic, because at a time you cannot recall everything, and There is also there is also thing called as context switching. That happens because suppose question 1 you are solving in history, the question 2 is there is in economics, question 3 is in current affairs, question 4 is on ecology and environment, and so on. So for the first question, as soon as you got over, you have to suddenly switch the context to some other background, other subject, and that might be challenging if you are not used to seeing the bombardment of questions in that way. So we can say that you don't have a lot of time, although it may seem a lot as compared to the aptitude or as compared to the papers of CAT, where you get a very little time for attempting each question, and you don't have enough time to revise. So whatever you are doing in CAT, you are doing it once. Here also almost the same thing is there, but here you have the advantage of elimination in the MCQs. In most of the MCQs, I would rather say. In some of the MCQs, there are four straightforward options, and you have to choose between them. But in other MCQs, you have like you can eliminate at least two of them. So that gives you a 50-50 chance at a good score. And also, if you are like really into it, really attempting, so you'll have to practice a lot. Practice a lot means since you cannot predict what the commission intends to put in the paper, and since the prelim paper doesn't follows any any of the previous pattern, so that is a challenge. You'll have to think on your own, and no matter how many mock prelim papers you give, the problem remains that it, it is not up to the level what commission decides each year to put in the prelims question paper. So at the time on the ground when you're dealing with the paper, you'll have to be on your wits and on your toes, and on your sharp thinking that what is intended in the questions and how you are solving it. So that makes it challenging because no prior there's no prior question of that kind. It might be, for example, for many years I have seen that questions related to Buddhism in some or other form comes, but out of the Buddhism questions or Jainism questions, one or two options are such that you might not have heard of it. So even if you find a pattern like one Buddhism question has to come each year in the paper, you might not succeed in solving the question. So that so in that too, if there is a pattern, anyhow you found a pattern, there might be a possibility that not all the options might be you might not be aware of. Another thing is, for example, uh, I remember in in the middle they started asking about some commissions or some judges or some panel, and they used to ask, okay, what is this panel about? So they used to give four straight options and you have to mark them. But of late, for many years, I've seen that they have also removed this. So there is no guarantee. And also the mixture of questions. For example, in polity or geography. So sometimes there might be like two questions in geography. Sometimes there might be like three questions or 10 questions in geography. But that will reduce the share of other subject questions. For example, if suppose geography features in like 15 questions of the paper, that is very rare actually, and it might be mixed up with the current affair and cultural question or whatever. So it will reduce the share of other subjects. For example, if geography is more, it might reduce the share of economy or polity or science questions. We can never know. We will never be able to ascertain what might be the case. So it depends. So it's like trying your luck, but you're not actually trying your luck. You are actually have studied a lot, prepared a lot, and then you're trying to like make educated educated decisions about how to tackle the questions and what will get you through. If you look at the trends from last years, for general category cutoff, it is like if the paper is too tough or the students feel that it is too tough, the cutoff is like 80 or 90 out of 200. That may not seem much, but once you attempt the paper, you will understand in the gravity of the once you attempt the paper in the gravity of the whole examination atmosphere, after if you have prepared a lot, like for 6 7 months 8 months straight and attempted the paper, then you will appreciate that even that getting that cutoff of 89 marks or 90 marks might become a huge deal, because others might be performing better than you, so the cutoff may move a bit high and bit low. Anyhow, for for certainty, you will have to score or make your paper attempting strategy or marks strategy in such a way that even if you default on a few questions, or you're not able to answer a few questions, or you mark some of them wrong, you're through the cutoff. Nobody can predict the cutoff, but depending on the paper level, while solving the paper, you will be able to understand that okay, the cutoff might reach like 90 or 80. So this requires a constant evaluation of our preparation, a lot of problem solving, and a lot more. So other than this, if you look at the quality of questions, sometimes they ask straightforward facts. For example, THEED, what is it? So its answer was like simple, it is a missile system. And last year prelims, they asked a question about figs. So how does pollination happens in fig? So by chance, I came across a shorts which was discussing about the same thing. So I was lucky. So you have to keep your eyes and ears open on whatever information you are grasping or whatever you are reading, and read it very sincerely. Don't think that it is of no relevance or it is trivial. It might be the case that that might be your question. For example, one year they asked about uh, Ramanujan. So there was a film on him. So they asked this question directly in the prelims paper. So not all the times they will ask this straightforward fact-based questions, but yeah, they do. Another field is like polity. So polity is from one or two reference book. You can study it in a good way, and throughout your extensive study of the Hindu newspaper, its editorials especially, you will come to know about a lot of things. You'll have to relate a lot of things from the polity with that newspaper, so that you have a mental map of the articles of the constitution, the provisions, the principles, how the legislatures works, and a lot of other things. So keeping that in mind, the polity questions are a bit easier to solve, but you'll have to remember a lot of information, the basic information, so that you are able to solve. Another thing is like your economics. So economics, current account deficit, capital account deficit, that is not a term actually, that is a current account deficit. So these deficit, these surpluses, how the budget is prepared, the macroeconomic terms, all the things you'll have to study. And also about the RBI, because most of the time I've seen that a question related to RBI is always there in some or the other form, because RBI as a whole affects our economy and current affairs. So one can't say what would constitute of current affairs. It is vast, so you'll have to rely on your revision. Sometimes they ask a very obscure treaty or something, or sometimes from the wildlife sanctuaries, some some incident has happened and related to, they will not ask about the incident, they will ask what about some feature of that wildlife sanctuary or national park, or they may ask about arranging the mountain ranges in north to south, southwest, something. And sometimes they give some geographical questions, for example, like related to the part of Middle East, Israel, Palestine, because these are conflict zones. They are always in news. So may that they might decide to ask it. They might decide to ask a question about the geographical location of some conflict zone. You might never know. So all round awareness of all the things happening around and whatever you read in the newspaper and how those things are related to each other is very important, a key to tackle the questions in the prelims examination. So in the next discussion we will have a proper understanding of what goes into solving a question about the prelims. So till then, I think I will keep this live stream short, not more than 15 minutes, so that the viewers, audience who are watching this might not get overwhelmed by the information. So in the next prelims part, we will have a look at what goes into the questions and might be some other trends and things from the prelims examination. So till then, goodbye. Thank you for watching.